Request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, today marks a special day because we all, I think, in our tenure here at the legislature, we get acknowledged, we get awards, we get all kinds of things from groups outside of the building. Lobbyists, different interests, etc. But today marks a day when we, as a body, acknowledge and give thanks to one of our own. And today marks the last day that we will have Senator Kagan with us as a senator in this session. So we wanted to allow folks to say a few words if they wanted to talk about the service that Senator Kagan has had in this legislature and for the state of Colorado. Of course, many of those years were spent in the other room that's down the hall, where he did a lot of great work. But we all have witnessed much of that great work here in this chamber as well. I think we all know that the senator stands for justice, for looking out for those that I think many of us often find too easy to forget about. People that maybe have had a past that is unfortunate, or maybe they have found themselves entrenched in a system that just doesn't give them a second chance enough for them to move on with their lives and be productive members of our society. And we all know that Senator Kagan is that person that every single day, that's what he thinks about, is helping people that have the least among us, and that's what he's dedicated his life to. And we all know that even outside of this chamber, he'll continue to dedicate his life to that. I'm sure we will hear about it when criminal justice bills from time to time come across our desks. So we don't expect him to go too far, but I did want to make sure that we took a few moments and congratulated the senator on his service for the state of Colorado and for many Coloradans, and offer him the ultimate shiny thing that you will put on a bookcase somewhere from the Senate, and allow a few others to say a few words. So thank you so much, Senator, for the great work you've done, for your metaphors that we sometimes don't understand, for teaching us how to truly speak the English language from time to time, and for being such a good friend. So thanks.
Minority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first conversation that I had with then Representative Kagan was a getting to know you conversation. I knew of him, but as a newly elected representative coming in, we met on the other side of the House chamber and discovered a shared love of British humor. Always look on the bright side of life. Another favorite memory occurred in a House committee that year when a bill that's very special to me received 2 Democrat votes in a Republican-controlled chamber. And I won't embarrass the senator with what bill that was, but there have been occasions since when I have asked, would you mind if I say at the mic that you actually supported this before you opposed it? But such are the lessons of the legislature. Mr. President, I may be in violation of the rules, but I'd like to say to my friend Daniel, thank you also for sharing many times the lessons, the experiences of your family in dealing with the Holocaust. I can't begin to pronounce the names, but you know and can do that. And I just want to thank you for keeping those memories alive. We wish you the very best. And again, it's been a blessing for me because you've reminded me, and I take this opportunity to remind you, always look on the bright side of life. God bless you, sir.
Madam President Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I have a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Thank you. Senator Kagan, then Representative Kagan, and I came into the House together a decade ago. Yeah, we don't want to admit it was, we still look the same. We're no older at all. And he chaired the Judiciary Committee, came to chair the Judiciary Committee, and I came to chair the Finance Committee. I served on Judiciary, he served on Finance. So we had the opportunity to spend a lot of time together. There is nobody who has ever served in this building with a bigger heart and more compassion for those who don't have voices for themselves. He is passionate about being certain that the underdog gets the representation and the respect due every human being, and for that I eternally admire you, my dear friend. And in honor of Senator Kagan, from now on during roll call, we are all suggested to say, "Hia."
Senator Priola.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you. I too wanted to come say a few words for my friend and colleague, Senator Kagan. I actually told him how much I'd miss him about a week ago, but we too have served for over a decade as Senator Court and I came in together, all three of us. And I'll tell you one thing I won't miss. I won't miss appearing in front of Judiciary with him as chair, because he is a worthy opponent. But I will miss the story of your family and Holocaust. I will never forget it as long as I live. I'll remember specifically that Mr. Sukevich, yes, was a Catholic, as am I. Thank you for making the state a better place, Senator Kagan.
Senator Donovan.
Ask for a moment of personal privilege, Mr. President.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. A similar theme is emerging as we rise to the well to pay tribute to a friend and colleague, and that is of those amazing speeches that you have given on important moments in this chamber and others. And I was reflecting back to one of the earliest days of serving as a senator, which is 4 years ago, but seems much longer ago now. We pack so much into these 120 days. 4 years can seem like a long time ago. I didn't know you, didn't know your name, didn't know you had an accent when you were going to rise to speak. And all of a sudden, here you were, and I was sitting over on the benches of the House. And whatever task I had at the moment of probably trying to find a House sponsor or looking for support, I immediately forgot, because your words were so powerful and your speech so eloquent, refined, and thoughtful, and built an image in my head that I found myself listening to you without the intent that I had. I hadn't gone over there to listen to you speak, and there I found myself, just with the power of your words, at the mic. I sat down and listened to your remarks. And I found myself in the earliest days of when you look to people of how you want to be a senator and how you want to be a leader in this state and find your voice. I said, if I could speak like him, that's a goal. That's a goal, to command a room just because you can string together thoughts that are compelling and eloquent, and you can seize a room. And so I found myself looking towards you and other senators that have left us to move on to other professions and goals. But still, those are the names that come to mind when I still try to craft myself as the senator for my district. So, and that's a legacy, right? That's what we conduct ourselves here day by day, hoping that the legacy we leave behind will be meaningful and will be remembered. And you certainly will be for that impact alone, that I will continue to strive to be as eloquent as you are at the mic, because I don't think there's anyone in this building who does it better than you. And that's the power in what we do. We speak. We speak. That's our primary job, is to communicate at the well, and there's no one who does it better than you on many occasions, and many tough occasions. You do it well. You were also my seatmate, our neighbors on the floor, and the number of times where I would lean over to you and go, "Senator, what does this part of this bill mean? Can you help me walk through some of this legalese?" And you did it always thoughtfully, without me feeling like I was silly for asking the question. And so I will miss you being my legal phone a friend. That we as citizen legislators often find that we need those people that can help us decipher some of the language. So thank you for your service to the state. You will be missed, and you will leave a legacy, at least for me, because I will strive to be as good as you at those moments when you have spoken for all of us so well. Thank you, sir.
Senator Todd.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues, and I'd like to request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. And this is a bittersweet day for a good friend. Daniel Kagan and I have been friends since before I guess I was serving, but before he started serving in the House. I can remember the first time I met him, he and Faye, his lovely wife, opened their home as a fundraiser in Arapahoe County. And it was just a matter of generosity of course, our home is your home. You are welcome. Come, enjoy, and feel welcome. And Daniel, and I'm going to be inappropriate and call you Daniel because, yes, you are Senator Kagan, but before that, you were Daniel. And you have absolutely emulated what kindness, generosity, and being a genuine person is all about in life. You have shared and been very authentic with your life story. You have shared your heartache with your children or with neighbors or situations that have happened with constituents. We've had the honor of working together for town hall meetings, and so we have had many stories to share with some of our senior citizens at Heather Gardens. They will miss you desperately because you are so dearly loved. I have thoroughly enjoyed not only your wit and your humor, but your wisdom. You are the WW, the wit and wisdom of the Colorado Senate, and we will miss you desperately. I know that good things lie ahead for you. I wish you well. Godspeed. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your life with us, both in the House, in the Senate, and in the Colorado state. And we know that good things lie ahead for you, and all I want to say is cheerio, my friend. God bless.
Senator Crowder.
Moment of personal privilege, Mr. President.
Granted.
Actually, I spoke to Senator Kagan yesterday in the parking lot and expressed at that time that, I wish him the very best on what he does. But in reflection today, I think it's important to realize the history of the Holocaust in which he brings to this body. I think what I will miss more than anything is that English accent that every time he speaks, it's almost amazing to listen to him and to you. I wish you the very best. You've not only been a good adversary, but we have run several bills together, which I have always been very productive, and I thank you for that. I wish you Godspeed, and the state of Colorado owes you a debt of gratitude for your service to the state. And don't be a stranger. Come and see us when you can. But best of luck to you, Senator Kagan, from the bottom of the heart, and God bless you. Thank you.
Senator Danielson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request a moment of personal privilege. Sorry.
Granted.
Thank you. I'll be brief and just echo the kind thoughts of my colleagues. Thank you for coming forward this morning. Senator Kagan, it has been a privilege of mine to serve with you. I worked on your campaign when you were getting elected before I served, and it was a real honor, but I didn't know you then. And I knew what you stood for, and that was compelling. But to watch you work in this chamber and then, earlier in the House, it really was our privilege to serve with a person like you. You are a skilled and talented and thoughtful and hardworking lawmaker. You are a good man and an inspiration, the kind of person that we really need here inside the building representing the public. I learned a lot from you. Have any of you had a first bill go to one of his committees? No? Well, I did. Substitute amendments and rerouting, and yeah, I had to get my stuff together in a little bit more organized way before I could present in front of his committee, as it should be, right? I'm joking, but I did learn a lot. I think we all did. The people of the state of Colorado benefited from you being in this building, representing them, and we certainly did too. You set a very high standard for us to try to reach as lawmakers ourselves, and when you left the House, you were sorely missed, and I can't express to you how much I will miss you, and I think we all will here in this chamber. But although I tried to dissuade your decision, it was only because I have so much respect for you and wanted you to stay here selfishly, but wish you all the best of luck in your next endeavors, and I know that you'll do wonderful things, so thank you very much.
Senator Fields.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Senator Kagan, former Representative Kagan, you are a true statesman. I have watched your work in both chambers, and I can tell you that I have the utmost respect for you. I was just reflecting on all the bills that you have passed. I mean, the body of your work is tremendous. I know that I'm extremely proud of all that you've accomplished. But for me, I feel like a friend, you're a friend. And a friend to me is someone that has extended their hand to you, but in the midst of them extending their hand, they touch your heart. You have really touched my heart. And the reason I can say that is because of watching you be a champion for civil rights, watching you be a champion for fairness and equality and equity in all places, in all things. You have never wavered on that issue. It didn't matter who brought the bill forth. It could have been yours, it could have been someone else, but if it had any hint, any flavor, any bright light that had an indication that it was going to be an unfair practice, you were going to speak on it. And I appreciate that about you. I also appreciate that you are a storyteller. And throughout both chambers, you've told the story where everyone has commented on it in reference to your family. Every time you share that story with us, it brings tears to my eyes. It makes me weepy. But it's a kind reminder for all of us as to the sense that we should never forget our history, we should never forget our legacy, and you remind us of that all the time. You're a generous man. You're a kind man. You're really generous when it comes to sharing your intellect. Like the former senator already said, you know, if we had a question, you never said no to sharing your opinion or giving your advice or giving some guidance. I'm going to miss that so very much. So I'm going to have to look for maybe I can call you from time to time. But I just want to say that I'm going to miss you greatly. Your wife, when you're away from home, you know, that's time away from home. And she's been generous too by standing by you and allowing you to kind of do the work that you do. So I want to thank your wife. I thought I saw her. I want to thank you for letting him be a part of the work that we do here under the Gold Dome. Thank you so very much. And thank you for touching my heart. You're such a skilled statesman, and I hope that I can walk in your footsteps. Thank you. You will be missed.
Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you. I, too, want to add my voice to honor Senator Kagan, who I know better as Representative Kagan. We served for 6 years together in the House on the Judiciary Committee. I vice-chaired it for a few of those years, and the knowledge and wisdom and skill with which you handle that committee is an inspiration to me, and I hope to carry that on. Bittersweet to say goodbye to you here I was really looking forward to serving with Senator Kagan on the Judiciary Committee in the Senate, but so be it. You've chosen a different path. I did have the honor of thanking you in the House when you moved on after serving your term over there. And I cataloged the encyclopedic body of work that you accomplished while you were there. And included in those bills was an extraordinary bill that was passed after the assassination of prison director Tom Clements to improve community parole outcomes. It was the first time that this General Assembly allocated money to community groups to address recidivism. We actually, because of that bill, provided money to community-based organizations made up of people with experience in the criminal justice system, if you understand my euphemism, to work with offenders who had come out of the system. And it's been extraordinarily successful, so successful that in last year, that bill was renewed and expanded into multiple additional jurisdictions. So the thoughtful, innovative, creative solutions that you have provided for criminal justice is, we owe you a terrific debt of gratitude, as does the community. But I think an emblematic legacy of the work of Senator Kagan came to the legislature 2 days ago in the form of a young man by the name of Jeff Johnson. Jeff Johnson was a 41-year-old gentleman who was a beneficiary of House Bill 180, Senate Bills 180 and 181, when the Supreme Court said you can't sentence juveniles to life without the possibility of parole. Senator Kagan and some allies crafted this bill to provide an opportunity for resentencing of offenders. And this young man, Mr. Johnson, was one of those offenders who served 27 years in the Department of Corrections, going to prison at age 17, and just being released in November. A true statement of redemption, as that young man is describing to me and to you the path he is now on, which involves trying to get permission to go back into the Department of Corrections. I know most people, when they leave the Department of Corrections, want to turn their back on it and never see it again. But Mr. Johnson has learned through his experiences that he wants to go back into the prisons and teach classes in restorative justice and 7 habits on the inside to give back, to help, to assist other inmates. So here is a life that would have been wasted in prison, a lifetime without parole sentence. This legislature acknowledged that this human being could be redeemed and had been redeemed, and a sentencing court acknowledged that redemption and released him into the community, and now he is giving back to the entire community. That is the legacy of Senator Kagan. So we thank you, we miss you, we will try to carry on the great traditions that you have shown us. Thank you.
Senator Janal.
Thank you, Madam President. And may I take a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Thank you. Senator Kagan, it's nice to hear that. I've never served with you here in the Senate. I wish I had. But I did serve several years with you in the House. And I remember, I don't know if you do, but I recall various conversations we had in my first 2 years. My office was right next to your office, up on the 3rd floor. And I remember coming to your office in the evening, talking late about all things about the Capitol and what, the different committees and whatnot, and issues. And you gave me a lot of wisdom. A lot of things that I learned from you, I carry on today. I also will repeat what a lot of my colleagues have already said, that some of your personal stories have really gone to the heart and the soul of my being, and I will never forget those stories. And they aren't stories, they're real life. And I just wanted to say a few words because I haven't had the opportunity to serve with you here in the Senate, but in the House you have taught me a lot, and I appreciate that. And good luck, my friend, and Godspeed, and thank you.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Madam President. In the highest tradition, and following the example of the senator from Cherry Hills Village, I request a full 10 minutes of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Madam President, and I will not take it all. But, Senator, as you noted, today is my birthday. What a birthday present, Senator, that you would be seriously. Senator Kagan, you and I served in the House together. We both chaired and had to sit at the other end of the dais from the other for several years. I actually have the best memories of us there as opposed to here in the Senate, because our time here has been relatively short. I remember your spirited defense of Roe versus Wade. Now, for those of you that weren't there, you're probably thinking, well, Senator Kagan was defending the U.S. Supreme Court case concerning a woman's right to choose, but in fact, Roe versus Wade was a question of whether one could take their raft down the Taylor River, or whether you could you could walk out of the river, if you recall, Senator, and that occurred at about 9 o'clock one night, and there was some confusion about what Roe versus Wade meant that evening. But your very erudite history of English and Anglo-American common law was unforgettable, because it was both knowledgeable and entertaining, and that was a memorable moment of my time in the House, as were your stories concerning your family and what a great country this is, your adopted country, the United States of America. The senator from Cherry Hills Village and I voted on opposite sides of many, many things, and debated those things. I think last year of the bill, which was referred to as the squatters bill, which became a better bill for that debate through this process. And through all of that, Senator, you have been committed to the rule of law, due process, and the highest ideals of this institution, the House, the Senate, and the General Assembly. And because we have engaged in that spirited debate over those very important issues, those issues that matter to all of our state, sometimes I know you changed my mind a few times. I hope I changed yours, and we found the middle that was best for the people of Colorado. I was disappointed to hear that you were leaving the Senate, because I was looking forward to having you as chairman. If it could not be me, then it was going to be someone on the other side. And Senator Lee, there's no reflection on you. We'll have just as much fun. But Senator Dan, I will miss you. We wish you all the best. I have the deepest respect for your legal acumen and abilities, and again, your commitment to due process and the rule of law and everything that makes this institution what it is for the people of Colorado. Thank you.
Senator Tate.
Thank you, Madam President. Senator Kagan, I wish I'd known we were going to do this tribute today. I would have reprised my 2015 Hummer's roll, brought my British wig from the late 1700s, royal robes, and brought my personal imitation smoking device with me, but I apologize. I just want to simply say
Senator Tate, please remember to ask for a moment of personal privilege.
Oh, I didn't do that?
I didn't hear it.
Oh, I thought I said personal privilege requested. I thought.
Thank you. Proceed.
But anyways, I want to tell you how much I appreciate getting to know you here, and I'm going to miss you. Looking forward to spending quality time with you, not here, out in whether it's Cherry Hills Village or Centennial, other parts of Arapahoe County. And good luck.
President Garcia.
Thank you, Madam President Pro Tem. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you. Senator, I want to also join in the chorus of congratulatory remarks and express to you our appreciation for your service to this great state. I've had the privilege of knowing you for the last 6 years and serving in the House with you, and while I never served on a committee, I always enjoyed being in that back row in the House and working with you. I know that your constituents, you have served them well, and you have served this institution well by the work that you have done, so thank you so much.
Senator Kagan.
Madam President Pro Tem, I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Madam President Pro Tem. After those glowing tributes, I can hardly wait to hear what I have to say, I tell you. I have been asked by Senator Newell to make a couple of announcements. Because I don't think these tributes have actually been adequate. Senator Newell asked me to announce that in room 271, upon adjournment for all members, there will be weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth. A roll call will be taken. And the second announcement is that on Monday at 10 a.m. on the House floor, in a joint session, there will be rending of garments. If you donate $5 to the 4-H fund, you'll be allowed to wear sackcloth and ashes at the rending of garments session, which will be taking place to mourn my departure. Senator Gardner and Senator Coram should note that attendance at the rending of garments is not mandatory, but it is expected, and I would note that it would be political suicide not to attend. Now, Senator Gardner has asked me to make an announcement as well. He has asked me to say, listen up, citizens of Colorado and all the ships at sea. There will be a training session for new members on Wednesday at noon in the Barney Ford Room. Lunch will be provided. We will hear from Bob Lackner, our ethics specialist at the Office of Legislative Legal Services, who will give a brief talk for new members entitled The Unmarked Rooms at the Capitol, Which Ones Are Bathrooms, and What Gender Are They For? So don't miss that, especially the new members. Strongly recommended talk. But seriously speaking, members, it has been a tremendous privilege to serve with you. And one of the greatest privileges, of course, is the opportunity to help constituents with their personal concerns as they write to us and confide and trust in us. I got a letter just the other day. Dear Senator Kagan, I came home from work on Friday to find that my girlfriend had left me and moved in next door to live with another man. So I dumped her, because that's where I draw the line, you know. What should I do? And I was privileged to be able to help him sort out that situation. Or policy concerns. You know, our constituents write to us with policy concerns, and that's always a very great privilege and opportunity to help people with their lives. I got a letter 2 days ago. Dear Senator, you have to do something about this. There's a mini golf course on Bellevue Avenue, which has been there for several years. Now the Greenwood Village City Council has given permission for a strip club to open right across the street. Really? You're having a nice day out with the family, and across the street you have to look at a bunch of losers playing mini golf? You know, and it's our opportunity to help in these situations. And that's why it's such a great thing to be able to serve here. But really, seriously, I do hope that, and I believe, and I leave with the sense of comfort, knowing that now that the economy is picking up and our revenues are increasing, we may finally have the opportunity to fund some of the projects and programs that the people of Colorado have been crying out for. In my district, there has been for years pressure to build at the corner of Bellevue Avenue and University Boulevard a statue of myself in bronze on horseback. And we haven't been able to fund it until now. So I'm hoping, colleagues, that finally we can, let's get it done. Let's get it done. And I want to say that this has been, this 10 years of service in this body has been an enormous privilege, an enormous pleasure, deeply satisfying. And the only reason I have been able to derive, or one of the main reasons I've been able to derive that satisfaction, that pleasure, is because of you, my colleagues, not only those of you here, but those of you in the House, past and present, who it's been just a joy to work with and a revelation to behold. I mean, none of the ideas that we seriously try to get accomplished and turned into law that really improves the lives of Coloradans and makes this an even better place. None of those things happen because we think of them and we do them. They only happen because we have a concept, we have a rough idea, and then all of you and all the staff and all the lobbyists and all the people and all the activists work with us to take what is a rough sketch and turn it into real good working legislation. And that takes all of us in the community. To watch senators like Senator Gardner or parliamentarians of the skill of Mark Ferrandino, or people with the honest, critical punch of someone like Mark Waller, or to watch someone with the raw power of Paul Weissman take a rough sketch and hew it into something really, really good, or to take one of those ideas into the Office of Legislative Legal Service and see someone like Ed DeCecco craft it and hone it and refine it into real legislation has for me been like taking a rough sketch and letting Leonardo da Vinci say, well, let me improve on that for you. And what a privilege to be in the room as that happens, to see all of you and all the staff do their work. That has been a wonderful privilege. And of course there is satisfaction from actually passing the legislation as well and seeing it help people. And that has only been able to happen because on both sides of the aisle we do work together. We do make things work. And what a privilege to have been a part of that process. And what friends I have been able to make here. This has been the experience of a lifetime, this 10 years. And I'm grateful so much to you. And in the crafting of these bills, it is not only the literal working on the bill and working on the language, but it is also the whole institution, the support from our sergeants making sure everything runs well and doing it with such grace. They have enormous power, but they wield it so gently and so effectively. To watch someone like Marilyn Edens keep the house and its traditions working in such an elegant way, these have been a privilege to behold. And I want to thank them as well for allowing me to witness their work and benefit from their work. And I cannot leave this podium without saying that for all of us, I suspect, this work can at times be grueling and difficult and frustrating and hard. For me, it has been less so simply because I have had the love and support of the most wonderful woman who, with extraordinarily poor judgment, agreed to marry me 30 years ago. And I could not have done this without my beloved wife, Faye. I have to say to you, you are the best thing that ever happened to me. You're the only reason that I am able to stand here today happily. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. And I love you all. I love this institution. I love the community that it's been my privilege to serve. I love all the people that it has been my privilege to serve with. Thank you so much.
Mr. Majority Leader. Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Kagan, as a small token of our appreciation for the long work that you've done for the people of Colorado, we present this to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Announcements.